Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for spending the next hour with me. I appreciate it. There's so many other things that you could be doing, and you're here learning. So, what I'm going to go over today is growing your business with open houses. I have some documents to share with you as well at the end of the class. Can you guys see my screen? Awesome. Sweet. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat as well. We'll get to them as soon as we can. But growing your businesses with open houses, where so this is the content outline. What we do pre-open house, 7 days before the open house, 5 days before, 3 days before, day of, and what we do for follow-up. So my objective today is to teach you how to have a productive open house and actually grow your business by doing them correctly by using my systems. A little bit about me here, some of my credentials I need to update. Top 40 under 40 with cystic fibrosis, 20 under 40 with YPN. I'm a state director. I'm a governor in the YPN board, as Kevin mentioned, YPN of the year 2021. And I'm an RPAC major investor in the Golden R level and President Circle. So definitely need to update that. What is a lever? Does anyone know what a lever is? Feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Where is the chat? Too many windows open. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know.
So a lever. So a lever is something that is automatic, systematic, predictive, and replicable, leverageable, and expandable. So like think about like a seesaw almost, like how little effort it takes to move the person on the other side of the seesaw, like someone. So that's pretty much how we think of a lever. So anything in our business, whether it's open houses or our general business, we need to, if we do it more than once, we need to have a system for it, and it needs to be replicable and expandable. So that's what I created with my open house system. So can I have a volunteer to read this? I don't want to read everything.
I'll do it.
Oh,
Oh, okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and the relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. The size of your real estate business will be in direct proportion to the size and quality of your database. Gary Keller.
Yes. So it's all about database at the end of the day. Like we don't need to buy leads. We don't need to feed the big Z or deal with all these companies that call us all day asking, if we want 2 or 3 more seller leads or 25 more buyer leads a month. Like we don't need to do that. Our phone has everything we need, and basically we can lead generate completely for free. So that's why I love open houses. So it's all about adding people to your database. That's our goal at the end of the day when we host an open house. How can we grow our database? Because I think of everyone falls into at least one category, right? So everyone is either a current buyer or current seller or future buyer or future seller. Every single person that we interact with. So we need to have them in our database. So that way we can stay in touch with them, and hopefully when the time is right, we're contacting them at the right time, or we've shared enough value with them that they think of us. So by a show of thumbs up or thumbs down, who likes holding open houses? Thanks, Kevin. Who doesn't like holding open houses? So you guys all love hosting open houses. You guys are at the right class. I love it. Normally when I teach this, more than half the room is like, yeah, I don't like open houses. That's because we don't have systems and we don't know how to generate appointments at these open houses. So this is probably one of my favorite slides in the entire one because I love data, and it's open house opportunity rates. So 2 out of 3 sellers and buyers hire the first agent they meet. 8 out of 10 open house guests are unrepresented. So simple math tells us that over 50% of open house guests will hire the first person they meet if they're unrepresented. So my goal is always to set an appointment with them. And I don't care if they say they're just looking or they're not looking until next year. I want to set a buyer consult with them, or call it a home buying strategy session with them, because I know the odds are in my favor. Because if I meet with them first, even especially when I know that they're not ready to make a decision now, that's a lot of value to them. Because most people don't know what to do. You know, they'll call people from Zillow or all that fun stuff. So I've literally get deals still to this day from open houses that I've hosted 6 and 7 years ago. Someone will email me or call me out of the blue. They're like, "Hey, you know, we keep receiving your emails. We just got pre-approved. We're ready to go." And I'm like, I look them up. I'm like, "Wow, I met you at this house in 2018. That's insane." You know, because I use my database, right? I save everything. I add everyone to my database and I add notes and tags and filters to them. So it does work. So by the end of the session, you're going to learn how to qualify your guests. That's number one, and set appointments on the spot. You're going to hopefully start to look at things a little bit differently. And not an issue with you guys because you guys enjoy doing open houses already, but I'll help you maximize your open houses and I'll show you how to get at least one piece of business from each open house that you do. It's all a numbers game. Has anyone read Ninja Selling? No, great. So my favorite page of Ninja Selling is going to come down to the numbers again, and it's the conversion ratios here. And even though this is a little dated, it's still pretty accurate, and it comes from NAR directly. So it shows you, direct mail has a 1 to 2,000 conversion ratio, cold internet lead gen 1,600, regular phone calls 500, door knocking 1 to 100, contact with friends 1 in 50, ad calls 1 in 25, sign calls 1 in 20, and then here we are, open houses 1 in 15, and it's literally people that are walking in to you. So oftentimes, like I have my team members, they'll even host open houses during the week, because if you have a house that you can host an open house at, um, even if it's in the middle of the week, you bring your laptop and you get your work done. And if 2 or 3 people come in, that's 2 or 3 people that you get to add to your database at the end of the day. So it's all about growing our database. So my goal literally for every open house is 2 people. Because I know if I get at least 2 people, the odds are in my favor that eventually I'm going to work with one of them. So open house marketing strategy. So each house is different, right? So like I'm gonna have a different audience for a $300,000 condo than I am for $1 million home on an acre, right? So we need to know kind of like their lifestyle and what's going on in that neighborhood. Like for example, like a mistake I've made is there's certain neighborhoods like in Miami Beach and Hollywood, Boca Raton, that have a certain religious population. And when you host an open house on a Saturday in those neighborhoods, your turnout isn't that great for religious regions, right? So it's good to know the neighborhood that you're marketing, so that way you know who to target. Who should When should you do the open house? Weekdays versus weekends. What are you doing to make it successful? Where are you going to advertise and why and how? So something I always do is reach out to my SOI. That's going to be my sphere of influence. Your sellers, obviously, your buyers that your nosy neighbors are my favorite because nosy neighbors oftentimes are potential sellers because they're coming to check out the property to see what it's going to go for to compare their home to it. So it's quite common for me to go visit a neighbor's house after an open house just to see what they have and give them an idea of valuation, and of course for social media contacts. 7 days ahead of time, we confirm with the sellers. And my team does a lot of open houses, and I started my business by doing open houses for other agents. Don't worry about it if you don't have any of your own listings to host an open house in. There are so many listings out there, whether that's in your brokerage or even if you reach out to agents at other brokerages and let them know what you'd like to do. A lot of agents don't see the value in open houses. And not everyone's going to say yes. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would only worry about the people that are going to say yes, excuse me, versus the people that say no. Because most of them are going to say no, but you only need 2 or 3 a week to be really successful. So confirm everything that you possibly can: the age of the roof, the water heater, the AC, the date and time, all that fun stuff. Make sure you add it to the MLS, whether that's your listing or another agent's listing. It obviously has to be in the MLS because the MLS is going to syndicate to hundreds and hundreds of websites. And it seems pretty simple and pretty silly, but you'd be surprised the number of agents that I've hosted open houses for that don't put in the MLS. So it's my job to make sure that they actually update the MLS because no matter, all the marketing we do is going to be great, but the number one source is always going to be people that have seen it on the internet, on the Big Z, on Realtor.com, on Redfin, Trulia, whatever their favorite real estate website is, it's going to be on the top of the page because there is an open house. Create a Facebook event, design a cover photo, make a template for it in Canva or whatever designing software you want to use. So that way it's one less thing to have to worry about creating from scratch each time. Just make a simple template, post it on social media, on all your social media, even LinkedIn. There's a ton of quality people on LinkedIn. I don't know if any of you use LinkedIn for lead generation, but it's a great source of professionals. Post multiple times, ask your friends and family to share, and of course the seller to share. I like to personally leave out price majority of the time, or I leave out some piece of information because I like people to contact me. But at the end of the day, the address is on there. If they really wanted to know, all they have to do is type it in Google. Hundreds of websites are going to come up, but many people are lazy and just gives them a reason to contact me, which I love because then I can start a conversation. Circle prospect. Do any of you guys circle prospect now? I need a yes or a no.
No.
No circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is great. If if you have a dialer, even better. Obviously, follow the TCPA laws if you do, but even hand dialing it is awesome as well. So I love to call the closest neighbors to invite them and see if they know anyone looking to move into town. Like, do you want to help select your next neighbor? Oftentimes they know someone that wants to move to town, right? That's free. Ask the sellers to invite their friends, family, and neighbors, and again to share on their social media. Door knock if that's your thing. Personally, not my thing. The only time I really door knock is I do like the 5-5-5 rule, and I'll knock like the 5 houses to the left, 5 houses to the right, and like the 5 houses directly in front of the house. So I let the most immediate neighbors know what's going on. I generally never host open houses by myself. I don't like to. I always like to have somebody else there, whether it's another agent, whether it's my lender partner. There's lots of lenders out there that are happy to sit open houses with us. And the good thing about it is we get to support them. They get to support us. And if you have a lender partner there, you don't have to split the leads because you guys do two completely different things. But it's mostly for safety reasons at the end of the day. That's why I don't host an open house by myself. We live in South Florida. I don't need to say anything else. So just for safety reasons, have somebody else there with you. So confirm the person who's going to help you. Organize and set up your sign inventory. Check your open house bag inventory. I'll show you what I have in my open house bag/box. That's pretty much always in the trunk of my car. You don't have to have all this, but there are going to be times where you're going to have to use it. Some houses, especially the vacant houses, like you might need some hand soaps, hand sanitizer. I wrote this class during the pandemic. People aren't as crazy as they were before. So hand sanitizer, air freshener. No one likes to walk into a house that has a foul odor. Candles. I always have a little Bluetooth speaker with me. Water, scissors, paper towels. I'll show you the board. I don't really use the board too much these days because I like to be able to email them any documents. I'm paperless personally, so when they ask for a flyer, I ask for their phone number or I give them a QR code to scan so they can get the property information as well. And that's pretty much it for the most part. Oh, a measuring tape is always useful and toilet paper. 3 days in advance, we're going to make sure we post it again. Call the neighbors that you didn't reach. Promote you guys. That's a Keller Williams thing. Promote your ad. You can use like AdWorks or in Facebook ads directly. There's lots of services out there that will allow you to post an ad. You can literally put like $10 or $15 towards it. to promote your open house. Really, really important is that you need to check your city's laws and regulations for signs. Most cities are going to have some type of ordinance regarding signs. So I learned that the hard way once because typically when I do open houses, I put 20 to 30 signs out there. And I came out after an open house and all of my signs were gone. And that's when I realized that, the city had them. So usually they let you go pick them up, and typically they don't destroy them, but you have to go to like some weird, obscure area to pick up your signs. So, like for example, there's a city that I work in a lot, um, Coral Springs for the locals. Then he allows 6 total signs. And each sign, if it's not like a branded sign, you need to have your business card taped or stapled to it front and back. And the 6 signs also includes the one in the yard as well. You put more than 6 signs, they're taking all of them. And you're gonna be sitting there like, hey, well, how come nobody's been to my open house? And then you're gonna go out, especially if you have a partner there with you, you're gonna realize all your signs are gone. Also, if you're hosting them in a community with an association, you're going to have to get their rules as well because typically they are going to have rules on signage and where you can put it and the times you can host your open house. The goal is to not get your signs stolen. It's not other realtors that are stealing your signs. It's code enforcement and the association. If you guys have ever missed signs after hosting an open house, 20 to 30 signs if the city allows it. I love to have lots of visibility and give people plenty of time to be able to make a turn. If you put it right at the intersection that they need to turn at, it doesn't give anyone enough time to get over to the correct lane. Oftentimes if they miss it, they're going to keep on driving. But if you put the signs far enough out and give them notice, like, hey, you're going to have to make a right soon, and you put multiple on the street, then, it gives them the opportunity to get over and come to your open house because the goal is obviously to meet lots of people to add to your database, complete some information for your board, map out placement of the signs. If you can, drive through the neighborhood first because then you can know what type of signs to put out, and where to put them. I'm sure all of you guys have experienced neighborhoods where like there's absolutely no grass space at all. It's like where do I put my open house? Like it's all sidewalk or it's all concrete or so it's good to know where you have to put them because generally every neighborhood will have multiple ways in and multiple ways out. So if you plan in advance, then you know where that's at. I also have like A-frame signs as well that I put on the sidewalks. Now I didn't always have those, but those are convenient as well for those situations where there's no place for you to physically put your stake signs in the ground. And it's worth the investment to get those. And then like I said earlier, I'm paperless. So you can use Google. I used to use Google Sheets. Now I use Jotform. You can use Open Home Pro. That's an app. Um, our company has an ability for us to make like a page on our website and we can use that for sign-ins. Like there's so many options, but I love like a Google form, Google Sheets.
Darnell, I'm sorry. What did you say? Jot form?
Jotform, Jotform.
Is it a website or app?
There's a website and an app.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Christina. All the way from Vegas. Thank you for joining us. If you guys need a Vegas referral partner, drop your info in the chat, Christina.
Yay, thank you. I will. Appreciate that.
No problem. Where am I? So I always like to have a booklet, or I used to use the home board, but now I just have everything digital. So use IMAP or the property appraiser to print out the info or save it in PDF. The MLS full view, MLS detail view, and any other cheat sheets that you want, like any other homes that have sold in the area. And this is like a key also. I always get showing instructions for at least one other house in the neighborhood that's similar to the house I'm hosting the open house at. Why? Because then I can let some of the potential visitors know, like if they have an interest, or let's say it's a 3-bedroom open house, but they need a 4. Well, I actually have an appointment at 3:30 at this one just to preview this house. would you like to join me? And I always get people to meet me there because it's just another way for me to show value and build a rapport with them. And also we get to learn the market that way as well. There's always a vacant house or a house that you in the neighborhood that you can schedule a showing for. That's pretty similar. So always do that. And on your board, or if you have it digitally, get the school information because people always ask, how are the schools? What school is this? What are the taxes? Is there a seller's disclosure? Sometimes they ask for comps and lender flyer with rates, and if you have your loan officer there, then they can assist with that also. A day before the open house, we're gonna post it again, reconfirm whoever's gonna help you out. Door knock, do the 5-5-5 rule. You can do as many as you want. But like this is the absolute minimum I'd recommend is doing the 5-5-5 rule. 5 to the front, 5 to the left, 5 to the right. Pick up refreshments. If I normally have small bottled waters at my open houses, I used to like cater my open houses or have like cookies or chips or even sandwiches and stuff. And that is a nightmare. Unless it's like a super luxury listing and you're having like an event around it, I don't recommend it because then you're gonna have these children with their chocolate chip or Cheeto or Dorito fingers like on the walls and stuff or spilling drinks. And guess whose responsibility that is? Yours. So yeah, just water. Water's plenty. If you're in a fancy neighborhood, add some sparkling water as well. The day of the open house, I call this showtime. Like this is my favorite part. We're gonna post it again. If you haven't noticed the trend, you're gonna check the MLS, make sure everything's accurate. Also, look at what other open houses are going on at the same time as well. It's always good to know what's going on and also communicate with the other agent because we all work together, right? We all collaborate. So work with the other agent as well if there's any other open houses. Typically, a few hours before the open house, I'll put a sign in the yard that says open house and I'll have the open house time. I place a sign on the door that says the open house times because while you're putting out signs, sometimes guests are going to arrive because they don't know what time it is. They're like, oh, let me follow these open house signs. But the seller may be home or it could be vacant and you're out showing home. So if they come and no one's there, they're not going to return. But I've had people come back at a certain time because they saw, hey, it's between 12 and 2 and I'm here at 11:30. I'll come back later. If the home is occupied, I love to use like the seller's TVs or sound system to play some music. The vibe is completely different depending on the neighborhood you're in, right? Like when I host an open house in a modern Miami Beach townhouse, like I might put something that I feel is more fitting, maybe some light electronic music, or like when I host homes in Boca Raton for the locals or like on the Tamarack or the western side of town, I might put in some Frank Sinatra. I had a house in Miami Beach, and it was like a chill Spanish vibe. So just know your audience, know your market, and try to curate the type of vibe that you want for that particular house. 'Cause everyone is completely different. So use the seller's TV or your own speaker. Set up your display board if you like to have some visual. And I always use an iPad for sign-ins. I've tried using the QR code and having people scan it. They have a difficult time a lot of times, believe it or not, and they just keep on walking. So if you have a tablet, they already know that they have to sign in. I don't ask like, hey, can you sign in for me? Because it makes it a yes or no question. And if they say no, now you're like you have an awkward standoff. Like, okay,
Darnell, I have a question really quick.
yeah.
The um the display board. What is that? The
So
visual.
the display board, if you choose to use it, so you get like an easel from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever, and you get like a cork board, and then you can place like the IMAP. You can place what the schools are from greatschools.org and things like that on there, and some comps, things like that, and your lender flyer, your info, your QR code. So that's what I used to use the display board for. Does that make sense? Because some people are visual, and then that's also like another cue. Like if you see someone stopped at your display board and they're reading it, they're like, obviously there's interest. If there was no interest, they would just walk past it. So it just gives you another reason to communicate with them and figure out what's important to them. What's your goal? Like, what information are they zeroing in at? Are they curious about the school ratings? Are they curious about the crime? Are they curious about the taxes? Whatever it may be. Uh, iPad's great. And now go out and place signs. I always make sure the house is ready first, then I go out and place the signs because I imagine that people are going to be coming directly from the sign. So I want the house to be prepared. There's nothing worse than when you get back from putting out signs and there's multiple people waiting to get in the home and you have to tell them to wait because you still need to set up inside. So also I definitely crank on the AC unit because people are going to be going in and out and it's hot here. So I always put the AC, super low. So that way the house is really cool, especially with the in and out. That's going to be happening.
Hey,
So
it's Megan. I have a question. Do you have any kind of strategy or recommendation with putting signs up? Because that's one of the things like I personally dread with doing open houses.
I dread it too. But then I have to remind myself, like, hey, like there's a reason why I'm doing this. And then this is for another class, but like once you know what your dollar per hour is and how much you earn per hour, then you're like, hey, I'm getting paid X amount to go just put signs out at the end of the day. So when you know how much time you put into your work and what you get paid for the year, then for me personally, it makes things so much easier when you think about it. I'm like, wow, I'm making X amount to just go put signs out for 20 minutes. But why I love to have another person with me is one person drives and the other person gets out and puts the sign. And then like you get back in and you go another 50, 60 feet or like you circle the block or whatever you need to do. Because I find it inconvenient also to like, if you're putting out signs by yourself, to like put your car in a safe position to then walk to wherever you need to walk. So like always work in the buddy system.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, there's so many lenders out there right now. Like, obviously our business is not like it was in 2021. So lenders have time, they're not doing refinances. You can find 10 lenders that'll be happy to join you at an open house, that'll be happy to do this work with you. So that'll take a lot of pressure off for sure. But Showtime, day of the open house, first impressions are key. I always thank them for stopping by and I let them know, hey, I need you to sign in, or the sign in station is over there. So I don't make it a yes or no. It's more of a command. And every once in a while, you're gonna have someone who's like, well, no, I'm in a rush. I just want to take a peek, and that's okay. Unfortunately, the seller, it's never us, right? The seller requires everyone that's touring the house to sign in. So they understand that, and very rare where someone's like, oh, I don't want to sign in, and they leave. It probably happens twice a year, I would say. Generally, everyone will sign in because even if they don't put in the correct information, like just sign in. And someone that's that difficult from the beginning, it's not someone that you're gonna want to work with anyways. So they're saving both of you some time there. But I always thank them for stopping by. And the good thing with Jotform or most of the open house apps or whatever system you use to create a form is that once they submit it, it's gonna ding on your cell phone right away. And I'll get to that in a moment, but then you get to see their response to everything. And I have 2 different questions in there that most people don't have on their open house sheets that are really valuable to me. But whatever their response is, again, I always let them know that we require everyone to sign in, point them in the direction of the QR code or the sign-in station. Once they're done signing in, I give them facts about the home. Let them know, hey, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a pool. We're asking this amount, HOA is this amount, and I let them know, hey, please feel free to go take a look around, make yourself comfortable, don't be shy, open up any drawers or cabinets or closets, feel free, and if you have any questions, I'm not too far around. So something I don't like to do is like follow them around the house. I'm not a puppy dog, and I'm also not Vanna White. Like things are pretty obvious. The I don't need to go, hey, the room with the toilet in it is the bathroom, and the room with the kitchen in it or the stove in it is the kitchen, So I stay close enough to hear, but I also like to keep my distance so that way they feel comfortable because most of the time people have a guest with them. So that way they feel comfortable chatting. And if they say something I feel like I can add value to or answer a question, then I'm there. So I normally like to build the rapport more when they're on their way out, once they're done viewing most of the home. And then I observe and I ask questions. So this, if you scan this, most of you guys are on your computer, that should bring you to a document I have with some questions, I believe. Or actually, this is my open house. This is my open house sign-in sheet. This is actually what I use for my open houses. So feel free to use it. Just don't click submit, because otherwise you're going to be in my database and I'm going to start emailing you stuff that doesn't apply to you. But you don't have to submit anything. You can just go to the next page. My favorite question is this one. Are you working with a realtor? Normally people have it as a yes or no question, and majority of people are going to say yes by default, because they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to feel like they're being sold to. It's kind of like when we're in the department store and like we're clearly super lost, like looking for something, and the sales associate's like, "Hey, sir, ma'am, can I assist you in finding something?" We're like, "No, we don't want to be bothered or feel like we're being sold to." And it's even worse at open houses. So the majority of people are going to always say yes because they don't want to be bothered. But what I've been using for like a year and a half now, maybe almost 2 years, is yes, and I'm committed. Yes, but I'm not committed. No, I'm looking on my own, and no, but I'd like to. And the reason I do that is because oftentimes people will say they have an agent and it's not. It's someone they spoke to from Zillow, or their brother's girlfriend's mom is, a realtor, and they haven't had a conversation, but they're thinking like they might use them, or their coworker has a real estate license also, so they're thinking of using them. So you don't want to not talk to them or work with them just because they say yes. So that's why I want them to want to know, like, are you committed to working with them, or no, I'm not committed, because most people would just say yes. No, I'm looking on my own, or no, but I'd like to. And literally, like once they click submit and they're walking around the house, I take a peek at it and I know how to ask questions, how to build a better rapport with them. And if there's multiple people in the house, then I can determine who to give my time to. If there's 3 groups of people in the home and 2 of them say yes and I'm committed, and one group is like, no, I'm looking on my own, or no, but I'd like to, who do you think I'm gonna try to build a relationship with? The person that says no, I have a greater chance of converting them. And believe it or not, Sasha on my team, when we look at a lot of her closings, they come from open houses, and we look at what they said when they registered, they'll say, yes, I'm committed. They don't want to be bothered, but they reach out to her, because they see the value that she provided while they were there at the open house, right? So just keep that in mind as well. I'm not saying not to talk to those people, but if there's multiple people, you have to choose who to, build a relationship with. Ask powerful questions. I haven't added this to my new presentation, but has anyone read Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones for the real estate agents edition?
No.
Please buy it like right now. You can listen to it on Audible, and then they'll give you like a link on Curator to download like a cheat sheet, or the physical book. Either one is fine. And it literally gives us real life scenarios and how to apply it, whether it's a buyer, seller, whatever it is. And they are great. It's all how we ask questions, because words are important. So I was using some of these before I even knew like who came up with them, because I didn't learn about this until August at a conference, and I've read this book like 3 times already and I love it. So like something I ask is, would it be of value to you if I sent you a list of the other open houses in the neighborhood? Would it be of value to you if you knew what was going on in your neighborhoods and what your home could sell for? Would you be offended if I asked to, set up a home buying strategy session with you and your partner to go over the home buying process? And generally, everyone's going to say, yeah, it would be a value, or no, I wouldn't be offended. And then that's when I ask them for their information as well again, because a lot of times people will sign in with, Mickey Mouse 86 at AOL.com, or they'll put like 1 digit off on their phone number. But once I've showed that I'm a value and I have information for them, like, yeah, kind of have like to think of yourself as a trader. Why do they want to give you their information? The correct information as that is we need to possess some type of value. So I ask a lot of my questions like that. Thanks for coming. May I have your name? Again, if they signed in, it doesn't matter. I still ask them these questions. If I found what you were looking for, how would I get in contact with you? Oh, well, I signed in. Well, I can't see that to the end of the open house. Would you mind providing that information again to me again? And that's when they're going to give it to you correct if they happen to put it in incorrectly on the initial sign-in sheet. Um, if they're like, oh, I put my email in. Well, if the email bounces for some reason, what's the best number to reach you at? They're never going to give you the wrong information once you ask them directly like this. And I have 2 pages full of questions, and you'll get a lot of questions as well on how exactly how to ask questions if you read exactly what to say, the real estate agent edition. And then I listen to them. I add notes in my system or my notepad on my phone, and just ask questions. That's really it. We're always asking questions, right? So once they're done previewing, I always have my laptop like at the dining room table or in the kitchen. If the house is vacant, I have like a 4-foot folding table that I bring that I set up at like my command station, like that's where they sign in, and I also have my laptop there. So I always ask people like, hey, could you see yourself living here? What does your home need for you? If it's a 4-bedroom home that you're hosting an open house at, hey, do you need 4 bedrooms or could a 3-bedroom work? And then while they're answering, either if I'm standing up, I'll write it in my phone, but oftentimes I'll go to sit down and I'm literally doing a mini buyer console. I have the MLS open. I'll be like, all right, okay, so 3 could work, 3 plus. How many bedrooms do you need? Do you need a pool? Like, the generic questions, 4, 5, 6 questions. Whatever city that you're doing an open house in. Hey, does Fort Lauderdale work? Or would you also consider the Hollywood, Oakland Park, Wilton Manors area? Do you need to be in Las Vegas or could Summerlin work for you? So just ask them questions about that because they don't know it, but you're literally doing a buyer consult. And then based off of what you told me, I found X number of homes that meet your criteria. Did you know there were that many that met your criteria? And most of the time, they're like, no, I didn't know there were that many. Well, would it be of value to you if I email them to you? Great. What's the best email for you? Sometimes I literally ask people 3 times for their contact information just to make sure that I get it correct. And also why I dislike paper sign-in sheets is because I don't know about you guys, but my handwriting is horrific and it's hard for me to read other people's handwriting. So when you have a paper sheet and then it adds extra steps, like you're not going to go manually add that to your database. Whereas if you have one of the digital sign-in sheets, you can have all of them connected to no matter what CRM you have or database, even if you're using Excel, you can have it all automatically entered into whatever you're using by using Zapier or Integrately or any of these other services out there. And then I set them up on an auto email. And I do this with everyone that I possibly can, even if they said they have an agent and they're committed. I'm just providing value and sending them homes. And I literally will get calls weeks, months, years later, like, hey, we really love this home you sent us this morning. We'd love to see it. We just got pre-approved this weekend. I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Like I did a bad job of like following up. I didn't call you. I'm like, wow, that's from 2 years ago. Yeah, let's go do it. Send me a copy of your pre-approval. So those are the best. So just have everyone in your MLS. And even if you don't do a mini buyer consult with them, you should put everyone in the MLS also, or depending on your CRM, they might automatically do that for you, where it's sending similar homes to the one that they viewed with you. It doesn't hurt. And then you get to see like every day, like, hey, this person signed in, they're looking at the homes, like who to follow up with. Like, wow, this person was in 3 times today. Obviously something's happened, or they see a house they like. So like that's your alert to give them a call. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Like, not really. I saw you're on your portal 3 times today. You don't want to say that though, but it works like a charm. So the 500 question script. I love this one. A lot of times people would, especially like when you're getting signed phone calls, is, well, I just want to see the house, or can you take me to see this one? Well, I prefer to ask you 500 questions and show you 5 homes than to ask you 5 questions like most agents and show you 500 homes that don't match your needs. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about your needs, wants, desires. Would you be offended if I asked to meet over Zoom to discuss the search for homes together? Are weekdays or weekends better? So I'm always trying to set an appointment on the spot. So we all always have our cell phones with us and like our calendars are in here. So it's easy to do. And then there's rebuttals for that as well. Well, I need to speak to my husband or wife. And I totally understand that. But let's at least put it in the calendar now and speak to your spouse. And if it doesn't work, let me know. We can adjust our schedule. But I get really busy. My calendar gets full quickly. I just want to make sure I at least have you in there. Fair enough. And like 95% of people aren't going to agree. Are 100% going to show up? No. But at least you're being proactive and you're trying to set it. That's the goal at the end of the day. My goal isn't to just sit at an open house and let strangers in. Like I want to get business out of it. And I see so many agents that'll do 10, 20, 30 open houses and they'll get discouraged because they get not one client from it. It's because they're not asking the proper questions. They're not trying to set an appointment. They're literally just there waiting for someone to say, "Hey, will you be my agent?" That doesn't really happen too often. You might get like one of those a year, but not enough to build a business on. So follow up, add it to your CRM, whether it's manually or automatic. Um, I love to call people the same day. Like once I'm done, I'm in the car, I pick up my signs. I'm on my way home, or I'm on the way to eat, or wherever I'm at. Like I call the people because remember, they're looking at other open houses too. They didn't just come to your open house and that's it. Like the chances are they're looking at the other ones in their neighborhood or they are out house shopping and they already forgot about you the moment they walk out the door. So you can call them to get some feedback, but you're really calling them so that they work with you. So you have another opportunity to provide value at the end of the day. If it's a nosy neighbor or someone that you know is a neighbor, hey, look them up on the property appraiser and send them a handwritten note. Thank them for stopping by. And I always ask people this is another one of my favorite questions, especially when they're touring the house. Are you paying cash or are you financing or are you pre-qualified? I don't like to ask necessarily if they have like a pre-approval already because people get to feel a certain way. And a lot of times, like it breaks the ice when I ask if they're paying cash or if they're financing, because they're like, if I was paying cash, I want to be buying this house. So like it lightens the mood completely. And I find it better to be able to build rapport with them that way. And again, set the appointment to meet. Does anyone have anything they want to share? Any ahas? This one is like my condensed class, but something I teach often too is that I have let me see if I can find it. I have like a big open house sign that I have like sign spinners hold occasionally, depending on the traffic and what's going on at the property. One sec. Um, let me add this to the screen. There we go. So this is a banner that I have at my open house. They can scan it to go into the sign-in sheet. You can make your own. This is the second one I've had, or third one I've had over the years. And I'll go into the group chat in a few moments just to answer any questions that are there. I'll try to catch up. But I think this is the third one I have in 7 years, and each one has something a little bit different. So you can add the questions, add whatever you want in there for your personality. This was literally like $90 to order, and I paid the designer like 40 or $50, so you can do it on Canva on your own, but it just sets you apart as well. You can also go to like all things real estate. They have like a yard sign type one of very similar to this that you just post on the ground. That's like 15 or $25. You don't want to spend $150 on this. Here is one sec. These are the A-frame signs that I mentioned that I use as well. This is like a sign that I use if I hire like a sign holder. I literally pay someone like $25 an hour for a 2-hour open house. And the first time I ever used this sign, my first year in real estate actually, I got the biggest listing of my life for many years at the time. It was like a $1.4 million listing because he saw someone holding my open house sign. He came to my open house and I had a digital sign-in station. And he's like, wow, my agent's never hosted an open house and I've never seen anything like this. Like my listing expires next week. Do you want to list my house? I'm like, yeah, like absolutely. So this is just another way to set yourself apart and to get more traffic to your open house. One sec. Then I have a QR code for you guys. If you guys scan this QR code, that should get you to another drop form. That's my favorite. And you should be able to get 2 pages of my questions that I ask. And you might get the open house presentation as well. Well, you'll definitely be able to get the 2 pages of questions that I asked my open house guests. Let me go back here. So, what are some ahas or anything that you guys want to share, or anything that you're gonna implement immediately?
For me, it was the banner that you have, and the people with this, with the people that you pay hourly to hold it.
Yeah, normally it's like someone in my office's kid, or like I'll post it on Facebook if I can't find someone that I personally know, and someone will show up. And I would say 50% of the time they actually show up, you know, so don't get discouraged if they don't show up. But like, especially like when you're in the situation where that particular neighborhood or intersection doesn't have any grass or green area for you to put in your stake sign, like it's beneficial to have a sign holder there. They just grab a lot of attention and create a lot of traffic to your open house. Anybody else want to have anything else to share?
Me, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Hi,
you.
hi. My name is Frank, and I'm being a real estate agent for like a week, so this is new for me. And I don't know much about real estate, but I like your presentation, and I didn't know about the sign law that you're supposed to cannot put so many signs. And it's really awesome class. I really
Thank
like
you.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you need to know what the sign laws are, because especially when you're new and like you feel like you have to spend all this money and all these tools and stuff, you really don't. Just focus on what you really need and like don't go for the shiny objects. But like, yeah, especially if you get custom open house signs and like you come out and you're like, wow, like 10 signs are gone. I spent $10 or $15 a sign, and like they're all $150. There goes $300 if 20 signs are gone. Where you could have avoided that if you just went to look at the ordinances for that city, because they're gonna have a section regarding signs, and it's gonna be the same section regarding political signage and whatnot. It's gonna have the rules for all of those things. And
Awesome.
I learned the hard way, so you don't have to.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to share? Anything they would like to add? Any value they've received?
Yes. Hi, Darnell. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
I can see you too. Hey.
Perfect. It was a really, really good class. I really appreciate it. I'm planning on open houses being a like 30% chunk of my business next year, which next year starts today, this weekend. So starting it now, I'm really excited. I had a few questions. You said that everyone that signs in is getting on your emails. So how often are you emailing? You're like, oh, they're in my database and I'm emailing them. I've been emailing them for years, and then they call me.
So normally I put them in 2 databases, you can say. So I'll add them to my MLS. Ideally, my goal is to ask them at least 4 or 5 questions while they're there in front of them, and they'll engage some more oftentimes. I'll be like, oh, like they'll come over to your side and start looking at your screen as you write it. Cause like you're typing away as you're asking them questions. You're like, oh, okay. Well, what about these? Well, I found X amount. So they're in the MLS receiving the auto email automatically, but then I also add them to my database. So now I use Follow Up Boss for about like a month and a half, 2 months now. But for years I used our internal KW command.
Yeah.
So on both of them, I would add them to an open house like email list first, and it'll text them and email them. I think there's like 4 or 5 different steps in my plan. And then after that, I'll put them on an automatic, like a buyer long-term nurture plan.
Okay.
So I don't do a lot of customization to them. I haven't recently, but I've been working on it for the past like 2 weeks, like a maniac, adding some personalization to it. But my goal is just to stay in front of them. And we're actually I have 2 coaches, Amanda Dahl and Aaron
Mhm.
Novello, and like an 18 or 36 touch is not enough. Like it needs to be like 60 plus, believe it or not. Like all the successful people that I see in all the stages and all the conferences I go to, like some people are like, wait, email them 92 times or like contact them X amount of times a year. And like it's literally more than once a week. And but that's a
Okay.
combination of everything. Like they should be getting at least 24 emails from you, at least 4 phone calls, at least 4 text messages. Hopefully you have their address, at least 4 pieces of mail, and then invites. And that's just like you could easily do 12 a month of like what's going on monthly, in the area or a video. Ideally a video, not just like a text email. And then if you do client events, then
Yep.
that's another 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 touches that you can do leading up to the event and after the event. So now you're not just like asking them for like real estate stuff or like, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? Like that gets annoying.
For sure.
So that's a long answer to your question, but that's
Okay.
where they go.
No, I really appreciate that. And then second question, and this is a whole nother class, whole nother window, but maybe answer it as quickly as you can. You mentioned, oh, I'm also posting on LinkedIn. I don't know if anyone does lead generation on LinkedIn. I'm also happen to be writing that into my 24 business plan. So what are you posting on LinkedIn? Is it the same stuff on all of your other pages that like I can go see?
Yeah, I post lot less on LinkedIn because I feel like there's better ways to engage. But I'll post like what I'm doing or like especially when I'm attending a conference or something like generally text like I'm happy to be learning, be around great peers to better hone my craft and to be able to better serve my clients. So I'm more passive with that. But our friend Liza is great at
Right.
that. I know a few other people that are killing it on can't find my window on LinkedIn. And there's a training class out there I guarantee you can find.
Yeah.
But like they're just you have to pay for like the upgraded account on LinkedIn. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 different levels of accounts, and you have to like basically get the one as like your recruiter, I think, because that way you can really like dive deep and go
Yep.
down
Yep.
the trail. And
I've taken
huh?
Liza's class. I was just curious what you did. Thank you. I don't
I
want to take
don't I
away
don't
from this subject.
it's okay. I don't really use LinkedIn at a high level yet. But that's on
Okay.
my plan for 2024 too.
We'll kill it. Bye.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for joining. Thanks Ashley for your comment. The book is exactly what to say, but for real estate agents. He has a regular one for general salespeople, but this one is specifically for real estate agents. And like there's so many gems in here. Though basically it just gives you the magic words. One of my favorite phrases is, "Would you be open-minded to?" So I always ask people, "Would you be like?" I'm sure you guys get people that message you is like, "Hey, my mom or my coworker or my neighbor or my cousin is looking for this," or they'll reach out to you regarding a listing you posted, like, "Hey, can you give me some more information?" Okay, cool. My such and such was looking. Like we all get those. So what I ask is, hey, would you be open-minded to connecting me with them? Or would they be open-minded to speaking with me directly versus saying, hey, can you give me their phone number? Like, you're gonna almost always get a no, or hey, they said they'll reach out to you when they're ready. But I find I get a better conversion, it's better when I do that. Another one is like, hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I found this other house that I think could work. So it's like, I'll help me ask questions because like once people hear like something might not be for them, they want to know. And I'm writing a class for this now. Also, that hopefully will be available in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully I can come back and teach it and practice on you guys. But like, I love, I love exactly what to say. How would you feel if help me understand? There's
Is
literally
that the book, The Ninja?
Oh, ninja selling also. That one's great, but this book right here is more practical and things that you can start using like immediately today to change the conversations you have with people. Thank you, Jerry, for posting
Thank
it
you.
in the group chat. Just make sure you get the real estate version because it's gonna have scenarios here for you. And that's that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there are no other questions,
I have a question, Darnell.
go for Jerry.
I know that you know your stuff, so I apologize. I was a little bit late. I was dealing with customer service on Microsoft, but I did miss the first like 20 minutes. If there's anything you can just spit out that I could you think would be useful to me.
Well, shoot me an email, Jerry, because I'll send you the whole presentation. And I teach this class at least twice a month, typically.
Okay.
So like it's pretty easy, but shoot me an email, Darnell at theapontegroup.com, and I'll send you that and I'll send you all the questions I ask also.
Hey, honey.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Who was that?
That was me. Thanks, brother.
Okay. You're
All
welcome.
right.
All right. If you guys want to get in contact with me, this is how you do that. Follow me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. There's my personal email, my personal phone number as well. So I'm always happy to help, always happy to answer questions. Text messages and emails are preferred. Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing?
I think we're all set. I think it was perfect time.
Oh yeah, perfect timing. That's all Darnell knows. Well, everybody, we have another class coming up next week. It's more on the rental side of things. It's called Rental Beast Mastery. So if you're looking for a constant drip for your business, I highly encourage you signing up for that class. What I will also do is when I send the recording of this class to everybody who registered, I will of course provide the registration link for the next class coming up. So with that, guys, you are now prepared to romance and get more clients into your database thanks to the word mastery of Darnell. And so go out there, team up with your loan officers and make sure that you are putting yourself in front of as many consumers as possible. That is going to be the name of the game moving forward until some of this pent-up demand is finally released, and it looks like it's going to be quarantined for just a little bit longer. So with that, go out there, be great. Take these words into action immediately. You can always reach out to Darnell. Just reach out to him on IG at Darnizzle, 2 Z's. With that, everybody have a great day. Kick some ass, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
See ya.
Give up on my way.